Well, it's just gone 7 o'clock, so I think we should probably make a start. Probably most of you know me, but in case not, I'm Alison Crum and I'm the president of the Society. Now I should introduce Peter. I'm sure most of you know Peter because he's done quite a few Zoom meetings on technical things, and also he writes that page in the Vile magazine on a regular basis. So he probably doesn't need a lot of introduction, but I haven't seen him for quite a few months, so I'm pleased to say hello again. And if there's any questions, probably best to use the chat. And maybe between Jonathan and I, we can keep an eye on that and ask some questions at the end. Or Peter, if you prefer, they could interrupt. Yeah. Better at the end?
Yeah. No, I will say something to it in a minute.
Yes, okay, all right. So I'll hand you over to Peter, and thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Alison. Thank you, dear Viola Campus Society, to invite me again for another talk about technical matters. I'm very pleased to do it, and today is all about going back to basics, about string crossings. But as Alison just mentioned about for questioning, it would be good if you don't understand anything in the process of our exercises that you drop in the chat box your question, and then this can be transferred to me. I can't read in the chat box because I'm concentrating, and then the question can be forwarded to me. If not, I'm happy to answer also questions at the end, and you can keep it for then. But if you get stuck in the exercises or don't understand anything, please feel free to put it in the chat. Yes, back to basics with string crossings. I find it always as a challenge to play a clean string crossing, especially when we move between instruments as we do as a violin player. We don't play just one violin. If we would grow up with one violin or one cello since our childhood, it would be probably easy because we don't need to adjust all the time to different curves of a bridge, different spacing between the strings, different sizes. You see where it goes already, the problem starting. So we have problems perhaps with the coordination, that we hit the new string before we change the bow, or we overshoot in either direction. If we wanted to go to a higher string, we might even hit the next higher string or the lower string if we go to a lower neighbor string. Then the other problem is that we might kill the resonance by leaving one note, one string to the next. So you want to have a resonance always going on. This is sometimes can be a challenge. The other challenge is the new note won't speak because we are not in the ideal position. Our finger is not there, or the bow is in the wrong direction, wrong angle towards the string. These are just a few examples of problems we are facing with our violin. I will share later in a minute some exercises with you, and I would be more than delighted that everybody joins in. And as I mentioned, you can ask questions then. The exercises are designed, or hopefully will help you to improve your string crossing, to adjust, to recognize the problems, and to get some tools, hopefully from today, to solve and tackle the untidiness of your string crossing, including mine. But before I go to some general points, I would like to share a piece by Johann Schenk out of the Tijd en Kunst Offeningen. Excuse my Dutch. It's an edition from 1688, Sonata number 13. And out of this sonata, it's a sarabande. The sarabande I found a couple of days ago. And I thought this is really useful for today because it shows many situations in different string crossing. We have normal string crossing, meaning from neighbor strings, adjacent strings to each other. We have bigger jumps to overjumping a string. We have string crossings in slurs. In a push bow, we are going up. We have string crossings going down in slurs. We have string crossings into double stops. We have string crossings into unison. You name it. I hope you will like this short piece, which I will play now, and then come to more points. I have to adjust slightly my violin position because of the headphone, as you can see. So this is not how I hold my violin normally, but pretty close. Thank you very much. I hope you, I think it's good that you have your microphone muted and just listen at the moment. First, some general points before we go into the exercises. Your string should be clean and every excess of rosin should be taken away with a clean cloth or tissue. Your bow should have the right tension, your bow hair should have the right tension. I find very often that people have quite low tension on the bow hair. This doesn't support a clean string crossing. The sound will be more diffuse, not clear enough. I mentioned this sometimes before, less hair and higher tension on the bow is better than more hair and lower tension. On a bass bow I have about 93 hairs. Rosin you need to put regularly on your bow, ideally before every practice, depends of course how long you are practicing, and in a concert I put also rosin in the interval on, just to make sure there's enough rosin on the bow. You need to know what vibe you're having, which vibe you're playing, which size, that you can adjust your holding your instrument. It is surprisingly how long it takes if you not be aware which instrument you have until you really adjust to the curve of the bridge or the spacing of the strings. Also useful might be that you know which repertoire you're playing. Are you playing solo music? Are you playing concert music? Are you playing continuo? Why I'm saying this, as you know, when you play concert music on the treble and tenor, you hardly ever play the bottom string, or on the treble not even the second bottom string. So you can hold your viol a tiny bit different as if you would play solo music on this viol. So by saying the meaning, I mean by saying this is when you play not the bottom two strings or bottom one string, you can tilt the viol on the right side a bit closer to your body, so the top strings come closer to your right arm. If you play continuo, basso continuo on the bass viol, you probably will use the bottom string quite a lot and not so often the top string. So you hold your viol tiny bit more towards parallel to your body, so you can reach the bottom strings easier. Yeah, also in all solo music you use on every viol. Solo music you will have to use all the strings. And if you have 7 strings, then you find often yourself in the situation that you can't really reach the bottom string, so you move then your viol forward to gain more space. Once you have the outside circumstances all set up, your rosin, your strings, your right position, which you hopefully reach all the time when you pick up your viol, always in the same position, then learn the curve of your bridge. You really need to be aware about the curve. Sometimes you don't get really enough spacing between the strings, or you have too much spacing or uneven spacing. If you find this is the case, then you can go perhaps to a viol maker and they can adjust the spacing. It's useless if you have between a few strings hardly any space without touching the neighbor string, and between other strings a big space. This is not a very good setup of your bridge. Then when we do string crossing, the default position should be that our bow is always in the right angle towards the string. Not this way, not this way. As a default position, we can sometimes leave it and come back to it. I come to this situation later. But if you now you will see right in front of me, it's the camera. You see it's perfectly in the right angle. It looks a bit different on the top string and the bottom string through the angle of the curve of the string, but it should be in a right angle, the bow here to your string. If you play on the middle strings, you can find, when you have a music stand in front of you, you can find also the right angle by lining it up with the bottom of your music stand. When you do string crossing, and I see it very often that this happens, we come from a string and go to a lower string, people drop the bow down. And if you have a lower string, go to a higher string, people lift up the arm and play like this. Somehow, this is sort of a natural instinct. We hear higher note, arm up, lower note, arm down. But this is not the case, because if we do this, we definitely leave the ideal position. So we need to, the main direction is forward, away from our body, the right hand, and backwards to our body. As you can see, my elbow is nearly stretched on top string, and when I go to the bottom string, my elbow is behind my body. My elbow is not sticking out ever. If this is happening, we make a diversion and just confuse matters. The arm is always hanging, and the elbow follows and makes the link between shoulder and hand. Passive by hanging, but flexible. I think this is very important. Yeah, I said mainly forward, up and backwards, slightly up and down as well, because our viol is not in the right angle towards the floor of the strings. We're tilting our viol towards us, some more, some less. Some people play it more standing. I have it tilted to my body, so it's tilted slightly backwards. So therefore we need to go slightly up with our right hand and slightly down, but the main direction is forward and back, a combination of both. Then Another point, perhaps, and thought, how many ways of string crossing we can do, we can produce, we can use, depends on the situations. I found, well, I use mainly three ways of string crossing. The obvious one I just mentioned is, of course, we're going back and forward with our hand, and the arm follows. That's the obvious one. There's another one when we play quicker notes in the shorter, with shorter bowing, and we have string crossing. We must reduce movements. We must reduce the movement of mass. So I make smaller movements and end up sometimes just doing it by turning my wrist, like whisking cream. And this is possible, which is another very important point. Then when we do string crossing, we need to aim always getting close to the next new string we want to play with our bow here. Don't wait for the last moment and do a big jump to the neighbor string. You can go, if you have a long note, for example, very close to the next higher string, and hardly any movement forward, slightly up. I speak now just about forward, and you know that I mean also slightly up. You will reach the next higher string. If you be further away from the next string you want to use, you can see a much bigger radius, much bigger movement. So this means I try always to have my bow in the right position towards the next new string. This is important to have a small movement, and then you can move just your wrist. We come to this later. We might be able to do it together. And I don't need to move my arm forward. And the third way to do a string crossing is by moving your wire forward and backwards. It's a bit awkward with my headphones, so I knock it. So if you can see, I don't need to move my right arm at all. Doesn't go forward or backwards, up and down. My arm stays at the same position. My wire moves. Not at all big movements here. So these three main ways to do a quick string crossing I use. Then another point I want to share before we come to the exercises. When we do string crossing, for example, going up, I already mentioned we are close to the neighbor string. To maintaining the contact, I pull myself forward with my right middle finger on the string to the next higher string. So I maintain the contact. I never leave the string. Pull myself forward. You can try this later also. So pull myself forward. And not just push my arm away from me. This might end up losing the contact. But through my involvement of a middle finger of the right hand, I maintain the contact to the string all the time. If you have middle strings between, of course, we mustn't move on the strings between. We stop and then strings between, go up, and when we reach the top note, we go backwards. So ideally, we don't hear anything between. When you practice string crossings in complicated passages, I found it very useful to take the fingers away and just play the pattern on open strings so the arm can get used to the strings you are playing, and then you add the fingers afterwards. When you do bigger intervals, bigger jumps, you must make sure that you have enough bow for the new note. We aim to play bigger jumps by playing the bottom note with a push bow, forward bow, and the top note with a back bow. It has two advantages, as I already mentioned is, when you come closer to your hand and you go to a higher string, the radius is much smaller and more efficient. And then you have enough bow for the backstroke. So I try big jumps always, aiming for the bottom note and push bow. Closer to my hand, move over, and I'm reaching a top string with not much effort. If I do the same, the opposite, bottom note in the backstroke, see the big radius I have to do to reach a top string. Much more movement is involved. Of course, it happens. We sometimes back to front, and we can't avoid it. But if you find, say, playing a bottom note in the backstroke, try to avoid to go to the tip as I'm doing now, because if I go to the top note, I'm ending up on the wood. Because we need to consider the width, the length of the strings, how far they are apart. This is about 7 centimeters, 8 centimeters. So you need to leave 8 centimeters spare on your bow. If you go up, then you have enough bow, then you stay on the hair to do the knot. If you miss this, you go to a beautiful long note at the bottom, to the tip, and on to the top note. There's no chance that you can play a note because the hair is not on the bow, on the string anymore. So this is something to consider, the logistic, which way around you play string crossings. Now I think everybody could take the while. I can't see anybody really. I just see mainly me. Perhaps can we make me smaller and I can see more people, if this is possible, that I can see how everybody is engaging. Yes, this is better. Thank you very much. Now I see some faces. Welcome everybody. Good. Now the first exercises. So I'm happy that everybody either use a G-tuned instrument or a D-tuned instrument. Therefore I won't use all the strings of our instruments. I will choose strings we can play all together. Occasionally some D or G tuned instruments need to put one finger down for the string crossings. I hope this is okay. So it won't be just open strings. So the first exercise I would like to share with you is open strings from bottom G, C, then to F for the tenors, the F string for the bass viols, treble viols. Please put your first finger down on your F, then the A, and then the D. So 5 strings be going up and down in a quite slow pulse. And I quite like when you do this now, that you watch from above. This is so good on the viol. We can see everything what we're doing because it's outside of our body. We don't sing, or we don't play the recorder, where so many things happen inside the body. Here we can see everything, so you can look from above if you don't have big headphones on, where your bow is according to the next string you want to play. Watch very carefully the bow hair, how far the bow hair is away from the next new string. And perhaps I should demonstrate it once, and then we can do it all together, please. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And down again. So you have, I counted in 4, you have throughout a note, you have enough time to gradually go closer to the next new string. Meaning as well, when you go and hit the new string, the second note is C, that you are still very close to the previous string. So it's not a big jerk ever in your bow movement. So all a very gentle moving up gradually and then later down. So can we do it all together, please? After 4, and we have G, C, F, A, and D, and then down again. Each note 4 beats, please. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. Gradually next string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2. Closer to the next lower string. 1, 2. Closer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you very much. You were probably focusing a lot about the spacing between the bow hair and the next or the old string. You may have forgotten to move the arm forward and backwards. Make sure the arm moves so that the hair of the bow is in the right angle. So the same again. Now I would quite like to do now, say each note 2 beats, and the second note I would like you to use for getting closer to the next higher string without touching it. So the first note can be played wherever you like, meaning in which spacing you like. You could, in a tenor viol, you have a lot of space at the bottom because there's no string restricting your movements. But on the bass viol we have, or the descant treble viol, we have still a D string. So be in a normal position, and then the second note you use to go closer to the next new string you want to play. Really step by step, and watching from above how your bow goes closer to the next higher string. Same notes, please, with G, C, F, A, D. After 4, and each note is 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, I don't know if you can experience a calmer string crossing. So for this sort of exercise is very useful to get used to the curve of your bridge, and you will find perhaps some unevenness in the spacing. As I said at the beginning, either you cope with it and learn it, or you go to your viol maker and let it adjust. Thank you very much. This is, I think, a good sort of warming up exercise to learn about the curve of your string. Now, if we play, do string crossing with adjacent strings, what we want to maintain is the resonance of the note we are leaving. So if we, for example, pluck 2 neighbor strings, I would like to pluck C and G. So tenor viols, you put your second finger on the F string, and bass viols your third finger on the G. C and G. If you pluck this few notes, each note 2 beats, and listen to the resonance. C and G. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Can you hear the clear resonance of your viol when you pluck the next note? So how to achieve this with our bow, which is quite a big challenge. And there comes again into place that you have a clear edge on your bow hair towards the string, high enough tension, enough rosin, and clean strings. So this should work then easier. Now, I quite like to do it step by step. So a simple string crossing on neighbor strings. So we stay still on the same notes, C, G. And I try to demonstrate. So we play a C. And Then we stop our bow on the next higher string and hop that the C is resonating. I try again without making a note on the next string. No, it's gone. Could you hear the resonance of the previous note? It's not a question about leaving the string extremely quick or make a crescendo. This might help, but it's not necessary. The crucial challenge is that we want to make it controlled, and therefore we can control more if we do it slower. So we can make a nice crescendo, slow down our bow, and go very controlled to the next higher string. So I'm not running against the wall with my string crossing. Every note we play, as you know, when we play the same note, we want to make a smooth connection. We slow down just before we do the string, the change of the bow. The same in string crossing. We slow down. This was not the best way. Slowing down. Can we do it all together, please? So each note 2 beats. These notes in reverse. Yeah, thank you very much for changing back so I can see. And stop on the top note without making a note. You can join me. I'm starting after 2 or whenever you're ready. 1, 2, 1, 2. Again. 1, 2. And again. 1, 2. I don't know if you can hear the resonance of your viol. The beauty of our instruments is that they have a beautiful resonance. We don't need to press or try not to press the sound into the instrument. We try to get the sound out of the instrument. So it's all about moving your bow in the right way, in the right angle, and stopping at the right time. Now we do the same, starting with the back bow. So each note 2 beats, and one note 2 beats, and the top note we don't play. I demonstrate, and you can join me when you're ready. 3, 4, 1, 2. I do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So this might, for some, might be easier. We can do it together now, but the next challenge I would like to give you is that you're exactly on the next downbeat. 1, 2, 1. On this third beat, or next one, you stop on the top string. Not earlier, not later. This is quite a challenge, that when we play on demand, a restricted note value, and have to do it exactly the right time, a clean string crossing. Good luck. We're starting with the back bow, please. And stop on the top note exactly on the third beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Without moving on the higher string. We need to stop on the higher string that we don't hear a note. Same again. 3, 4. 1, 2, 1. And again, please. I think it's if it works, it's so beautiful. It's really fun to hear the resonance. 3, 4. 1, 2. And the last time. 3, 4. So you can set up your own speed. I sometimes use a metronome for this occasion, so I can really focus on the movement of my right arm. It doesn't tell you or doesn't give you easy access to playing on rhythm. It's just the timing we need to get right. Now, I would like now to do this exercise by not stopping at the top note, but maintaining the resonance. So we play each note 2 beats and then going back to the lower note. C, G, C, G. We're starting with a push bow. I'm starting. If you're ready, you can join me after 3, 4. The aim is that we have a clear resonance from the note we are leaving. Ideally, you stay closer to the previous string with your bow here, because you will come back to it. So don't overshoot or make it the movement too big. It's a small movement in the right hand. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How is it working? Can you hear the top note also resonating when you play the lower note? Not sure. I think we can take it apart when we start on the top note with the back bow and stop on the bottom note, which we didn't do yet. I demonstrate after 3, 4. The top note is G, the bottom note is C. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2. So the top note resonates. Right, can we do it all together with the back bow? After 3, 4, starting with the back bow on the higher note and stop on the lower note. 3, 4. 2. And the last time. 3, 4. Thank you. Now let us do it as a little line. Also we're starting push back, we're starting on a lower note. Each note 2 beats, and listen to the resonance and watch how close are you staying to the previous string with your bow here. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Remind yourself that we pull ourselves to the higher string by pulling our middle finger, so we don't lose the string. Same again, please. 3, 4. Thank you. It might happen to you that you hear this. Yeah, this is happens at the beginning when we play and learn string crossings. I remember very clearly how I played like this years ago. We need to relax and be in control at the same time. Now we make the same exercise. I don't go through all the different combinations, but it's just a little tool for you to revisit. The next one is each note 1 beat, and we do it in a row. And listen to the resonating note. Starting on the C, and the top note is still G. 1, 2, 3, 4. The same again. I think this might work better because we ask more in movements. Can we make a crescendo and decrescendo in the whole exercise without losing the speed or increasing speed? And listen always to the resonance. We're starting pianissimo. 1, 2, and the bow is on the string before we start, so we avoid jumping on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So in any volume, the resonance should maintain. I would like to do a bit quicker, even quicker. So if we say we play quavers, each beat 2 notes. I demonstrate 3, 4. You can see on my movement, my wrist is coming in and has a slight indication of whisking the cream. Demonstrate. Can we try together a bit louder, mezzo forte, please? After 4 in quaver motion. 3, 4. Of course, we always say, if I don't say anything else, we start with the push bar. Now I would like to draw your attention to another phenomenon. We're so focusing on watching now how far we are leaving our strings or where we play and is the right angle right. I would like that you draw your attention to the frog or to your screw on your bow, and look at the figure, say the end of your screw does, a figure in the air. We can do it again and do it all together, and then we can speak about the figure you may see. 3, 4. I don't know what you can see in what you draw in the air. If you would have a paper there and a little pen attached to the screw pointing towards the paper, what might you have drawn? I would say it's like a circle. It's a circle, depends how far you go away from your string, or an oval, but something definitely round. This is another way to perhaps in a quicker movement see how even your movements are, even far and the far end of your bow. Another challenge we sometimes face is that we have to correct our bowing direction. And there are two very nice ways to choose from. Either you do a correction on a repeated note or bigger jumps. Since we do speaking about string crossing today, so we can do this on the same notes we're just practicing, C, G, and do our adjusting or correcting our bow direction. So I would like everybody to try push, push, back, back. We can do it quite slowly, so each note is 2 beats, so we play minims in the same bow direction, either in every way. I demonstrate this once. Minims, and we play 2 push bars and then 2 back bars. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here as well, you can do this, play the next note in the same bow direction, but you must maintain the resonance from the lower string. You stop on the higher string for a fraction. So stop, push, stop, stop. You stop always on the next new string, so you have the resonance. So let us try this again. We're playing minims. This is quite a challenge. 1, 2, 3, 4. How does this sound to you? I think we can do it again. So make sure that you stop on the top or the lower string or the next string, so the resonance is maintained. 3, 4. Yeah. I made it a bit easier, more of a gap between the notes. This can be so smooth or so pointy as the musical phrase demands it. Now, I don't know where you played it, but I assume in the upper third of your bow. I would divide my bow, dividing my bow in 3 different places to explore. And us as viol players, we hardly ever explore playing more notes in this register, in this position of the bow. We're playing a lot in the middle, and we play mostly in the tip. Sometimes here are some sound qualities and characters in the bow we can't hear here or here. I would like to encourage you to use also the bottom third of your bow. This is very handy if you want to have clear, quick string crossing. Again, it comes back to less movement, smaller radius, and through nature, more contact to the string. Quite bitey, quite gritty, if you want to have it in a continuo line with 3 solo instruments, recorder, oboe, or violin. You need to be quite beefy in the continuum. This is something, yeah, I won't go too much into details now, but divide your bow in 3 different characters, if you want to say. Yeah. Then the next challenge, what we come across, and which also happened in my little sarabande, was doing string crossing into a double stop. We can go over the whole viol from single string, double string, single string, double string, which is also a very good exercise. I would like to just to take 2 notes out. This time the tenor viols can play an open F string, so C and F, on the bass viols and treble viols, please C and F. You need to put your first finger on the E string. The thumb opposite the second finger. Your hand should be very relaxed, but you need just the first finger. So we're playing starting on a minimum C, and then the next string crossing step is a double stop C, F. Then we played an F, and then the next double stop is F, C again. So as you can see, we make hardly any movement to reach the next higher or lower note. What I find often happens with students is when I do these exercises, they lose the sound of the C going up, or they lose the sound of the F by going down, because the movement of the right arm is too big. So let us try this. If we can hear the notes we want to hear at the right time. So each note 2 beats long. We're starting with 1 single C, then a double stop C, F, then a single F, and a double stop F, C back to the bottom C. And this with repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Single C, double stop, single F, double stop, single C, single F. So you can focus on the resonance when you leave this from the beginning, the second C, when you leave the second C and play just the top note, if your C is still resonating. And reverse, when you leave the top F and play the single C, is your F still resonating? Listen very carefully to it. Again, focus on the closeness of your movement. Less is more. You can be so close to your neighbor strings. Same again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you hear double stop nice and even, or was one note louder than the other, or did you lose your in the double stop the lower or the higher note? Just you can answer this, and you can practice on it if this was the case. The next step, as you can imagine, is of course 2 double stops tilting around the F. We're starting again with CF, then we play a next double stop FA, then the FA again, and tilting around the F back to CF. So what we should always hear is the middle note, in this case our F. All in minim rhythm and with repeat. Again, I will start, and if you're ready, you can join me at any time. After 4, 3, 4. How easy it is to overshoot, isn't it? And that we lose the middle note. The next challenge in playing double stops is, of course, as you know, if you come across this, there's sometimes equally, sometimes the top or the bottom note is more important. So we can practice this also in this, is my 4A exercise. So we want to highlight always the F and have as a second line the outside notes, say meaning bottom C or top A. So the F should be always the loudest note, but we want to hear the C and the A. Let us try this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on. I think you will find this quite challenging. It's quite often it happens that you jump into a double stop, want to have an evenly present or one of them stronger. I just saw to the whole that the time is running away. I would like to just mention a few other exercises, including slurs over string crossing. This one will be quite nice. Let us play FA, and we play four crotchet notes and slur them all together. I demonstrate this by moving our arm back and forward. It's not so quick that we need to go up and down. Each note one beat. FA, 3, 4. Thank you, and we can do it together. Now you will find the resonance is easy to maintain because we're not stopping on the note, except if we do a string crossing. So this is very nice. The other challenge though is that the rhythm is totally dependent on our movement. We want to have 4 equal crotchets, not something uneven. So focus very much on the small movement, which is just a few millimeters away from the previous string. 4 in the slur, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So these are neighbor strings. It's relatively easy to maintain the same rhythm. All of these exercises become much more challenging if we jumping over other strings. The same technique applies here. We need to stop on the middle strings or in the strings between the outside strings we want to play. This is just the same exercise extended to further bigger movements. Then another point which is also very useful to practice is on purpose playing different rhythms. If I go to say this exercise, you stay still on FA. I shorten it a tiny bit down. FA, dotted, crotchet, and quaver. Each note a bow stroke. I demonstrate once and then we can quickly do it together, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can we do it together, please? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So remind yourself that you do small movements with your right hand. Really small movements, not that it suddenly gets out of control. The same exercise you can do slurring 2 or 4 notes with the same rhythm. Then another big exercise is arpeggios, which I won't do today anymore. Arpeggios over 5, 6 strings in slurs. The tempo is made, the rhythm is made by you moving from string to string. And if you know your curve of your bridge, it will be perfect for an even arpeggio. The last thing I want to say, which we all come across, is when we play bass viol, or often in the bass viol, you have the cadence notes, a big jump into a last note, often over a string between. And the notes might not speak nicely, you might be late, and you lose the resonance. It's quite a challenge. For example, if you play D, G on the D-tuned instrument on open D, and stopped G on the tenor, open D and stopped G. So we have the A between. Before we put the A between, I would ask you to put the fourth finger on the D. So we have neighbor adjacent strings. 1, so I demonstrate. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's quite easy. So if you do the same on the top D, open D, and then the G, then we find it sometimes quite challenging. I quite like to finish with this exercise for today, that we do it all together. We play the top D and finishing on the G, on the E stroke F string. 4 beats each note. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. This is relatively easy because it's quite a high string. More challenging is this when the jump goes to a lower string. Even harder when you play rear gut, so that they speak nicely. The timing is everything, and the resonance. So to remind ourselves is work on coordination, work on reducing your movements, and support the resonance, the natural resonance of your instrument, so you can play beautiful phrases. So I hope I helped you with some tools for tackling some problems on our string crossing. Thank you very much. If anybody has a question, this might be a moment or reflection for yourself.
Do we have any questions? None in the chat as far as I can see.
That's a good sign.
Yes. Is anyone putting their hand up? Because I'm not looking at the whole view.
I can't see anybody's.
You can't see any hands.
Is there a handout of those exercises? Did I miss something? You were talking about exercise 4A or something. Was there?
No, I tailor my exercises to the students I'm teaching. So I'm working on a while book for myself, and there I will speak about it, but at the moment not for me.
Oh, so a book is on the way.
Hopefully, yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
but in German or in English?
In German, English, both.
Oh, very good. But if any more questions that I can't see, I guess we should close the meeting. But just let me remind you once more that we do really appreciate donations, and also we'd appreciate seeing anyone who doesn't live too far away at our stand next week. I'm very pleased to see so many people from out of England as well, or out of the UK, I should say. It's great to have such an international group of people coming together for these meetings. So we'll look out for the next ones on the website. As soon as we have any news about those, we'll be putting it up on the front page of the website.
Good. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and good evening to everybody. Good night.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.